NBA Finals are upon us. The Celtics are seeking their 18th title. It would pass the Lakers for the most of all time. They're favored to win the series versus the Mavericks at minus 225. Plenty of ways that you can bet this series. We'll start with you, Mike. Where are you taking us?
I think I'm going to be head to head with at least one person here, maybe multiple, but I'm on Mavs plus 1.5 games minus 130. Simply put, still a price point thing for me, Katie. I make it minus 150. I think it should be 60% of the time they either win the series or lose it in 7 games. I like it because I don't have to win the series, but I am personally expecting these games to be very competitive. We'll see if they're able to close any of them out individually, but I think we're almost definitely looking at final game situations where we have a 1 or 2 possession game. I think Luka and Kyrie in this situation are just so good and so difficult to defend. And if you look at the schedule here with the games, there is so much time off in between games. I think that really benefits the style of play of someone like Luka Doncic. So I'm going to take the Mavs here plus 1.5 games.
Well, the spread out schedule also could help a guy like Kristaps Porzingis, who comes back and I think will make the Celtics look a lot better than they have throughout this postseason. Even though they're 12-2, the impression is they haven't been impressive. They've been fortunate. They played a lot of banged up teams, whereas Dallas pulled off 2 great upsets and definitely has a better postseason resume this playoffs. I think guys and Katie, it always comes down to matchups. Dallas against Boston in the regular season. Boston did whatever they wanted offensively. Luka got his. He got 70 points in those 2 games. But all the other guys, White, Holiday, Porzingis, Big Al Horford, those guys stepped up. I think Boston is just too deep, too talented. I'm not going to take them at 225. I'm going to go opposite Mike and lay 1.5 games.
I am torn here, guys. I am flip-flop back and forth on who I think is going to win this series. So I'm just going to go with what seems like an easier bet to me. I'm going to go over a total of 5.5 games in this series. I think this is going to be an extremely competitive, potentially 7-game series, at least 6-game series between the 2 best teams in the NBA. And that's not hyperbole just because they both reached the finals. That was my prediction heading into the NBA playoffs here. But looking at Luka, looking at Kyrie, they're both playing at an extremely high level. Love the contributions Dallas is getting elsewhere. The interior of the combination of Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively has been phenomenal. They just outplayed a Minnesota front court featuring the reigning defensive player of the year, a 25-point scorer, and the 6th man of the year. And they made it look pretty easy as well. So I think this Mavericks team is really good. They're really impressive. They're playing great on both ends. And looking at Boston, they're just so talented. They have the best roster 1 through 5 in the NBA over the course of the season. Statistically, very impressive. So I think this series is going to be competitive, and I like it to go at least 6 games.
Look, I'm with you, Proppy. I don't know who's going to win this one. I do think it's going to be competitive. So instead, I'm going to root and bet for chaos. Give me 1 or more games to reach overtime at plus 190. Fellas, the Celtics like to play with their food, right? We've seen this in almost every single game of the series leading up to this. You don't know which Celtics team is going to show up in any given quarter. They nearly gave up game 1 to the Pacers. Jaylen Brown had the heroics to send it into what? Overtime. And the Mavericks are a battle-tested team. We've seen them come alive in the 4th quarter. We've seen them come back from deficits. In 12 playoff wins, the Mavericks have outscored their opponents in the 4th quarter 6 times. So I wouldn't be surprised if one of these games or more goes into overtime. I like the odds at plus 190. All right, so now let's take a look at MVP. No shortage of star power in this final. You got Jason Tatum, of course, the current favorite. Jaylen Brown, who won the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. And then you got Kyrie and Luka on Dallas. Larry, let's start with you. Who do you like to win the MVP?
Well, I like the Celtics to win it, and that's why I have to go with Tatum, because Jaylen Brown deserved it in the Eastern Conference Finals. But Tatum had a great series, too. 30, 10, and over 6 assists. I think the narrative is going to help him that he finally gets the ring, finally proves he's a superstar in that upper echelon. Jason Tatum for MVP.
And I'm going to go with Jaylen Brown at 7-1 odds. I just think he offers tremendous value at this number. I would also offer that not only has Jaylen Brown been the Celtics' best player throughout the entire playoffs, he's been their best player post All-Star break as well. Averaged close to 30 points per game. In the playoffs, he's been extremely efficient as well. He's shooting 54% from the field, 38% from three, compared to Jason Tatum, who's shooting 44% from the field and under 30% from three. That is no good. He's also had some clutch moments. I think he's outplayed him, and he's going to continue to. I love the value at 7-1 odds.
And I'm going to back Luka here. Simply put, I don't see anyone on Dallas other than Luka winning it. So I think there's just too much of a price point benefit here. I rather than laying or taking the plus 188, plus 190 at plus 210 on Luka, I think there should be maybe 3 to 4 cents difference. Not this big of a spread here. He's basically averaging a triple double with 30 points in this particular matchup. He's likely to get those numbers. And if they have a way to win this game, even if Kyrie Irving plays really, really well, it is Luka's team. He is clearly the face here. I'll take him at the discount plus 210 versus the money line on the Mavs.
I'm with you on this one. Give me Luka. The Mavs virtually have no shot without Luka having an MVP quality performance. So I like him with that. Real quick, guys. Game 1, Celtics laying 6.5, total 214.5. Prop stars, where are you taking us?
I'm going to go with a prop. I have to, Katie. I'm going to go Drew Holiday over 12.5 points. He has really been Boston's unsung hero throughout these playoffs. This is the reason Boston acquired him in the offseason, was to take them over the top, really be that missing piece. He's scored 12-plus points in 7 consecutive playoff games, 8 of his last 9 playoff games. He's shooting 50, 40, 90 from the field. That is some Steph Curry numbers from Drew Holiday, who also plays exceptional defense as well, also logging close to 40 minutes a night in the playoffs. So he's going to play a ton as well. This number should be at least 13.5. I'd even take it over 14.5 probably.
Jason Tatum hasn't been shooting well, as Proppy pointed out, but he's doing everything he can. He's taken a step back offensively and getting assists, getting rebounds, getting on the glass. He's gone over this number for rebounds and assists, sitting at 15.5. He's gone over it in 10 of 14 playoff games. If you go back to the last regular season meeting, they had him guarding Derek Lively. So that means more rebounds for Jason Tatum. I absolutely love this play over 15.5.
And I'm taking the Mavs plus 6.5 here. Guys, I think this number should be 4. I think we're going to get very competitive games here. This Mavericks team, all they really have to do is be within 3 to 4 possessions in the final 6 minutes. And if they're able to get it to that point, the ISO ball that they're able to play with Luka and Kyrie, putting one of the bigs in a pick and roll, I think it just leads to a very competitive game down the final 6 minutes. So for me, getting the 6.5 here, again, they could be down 3 possessions in the final minute. We're already going to know the outcome of the game, but not necessarily the spread here. Give me the Mavs plus 6.5.
I love it when my bets are aligned with the McClure model. I'll tell you that. I like the Mavs plus the 6.5 as well. Dallas had the second best cover rate in the NBA this season, covering nearly 60% of their games, and they really thrive in hostile environments. They're 34-16 against the spread in road games this season. Again, the Celtics, you don't know what you're going to get. They're 7-7 against the spread in the playoffs this year.